They changed how the live stream runs, so I've hit the button that says go live, and hopefully we are going live on the video stream. So hello on the video if we're actually there. If we're actually there on the new mode of operation. Turn down the sound. And let me check the Orban meter.
Oh, I see something.
All right, I'm not running the preamp, so we'll see if that works for sound levels. And I think we're good. All right, good to stop squirming around here.
I think the latency is a lot better.
Yeah, you know what? I'm looking at stuff here. They had different controls. It's actually easier.
10-4 on the latency.
It's actually easier to set things up, and they had a control for that. So I put it at I don't know. It looks like it's sort of auto latency is the thing now. So I can't see what's.
Wow, it's like almost instant now.
I can't see what's selected. It looks like it says ultra low latency. But anyway, hello to those on the stream. We're not up on the video yet. Waving my hand for the real time, and then let me do the transmitter when I find the foot switch. All right, there is your transmitted audio along with your video audio for the Old Tube Radio Network.
Oh, yeah, there's about a 2-second delay. It's almost exactly the same as the audio stream.
And thank you, Brian, about the Velcro on the foot switch. I didn't think about that. And I have the type of floor that's not carpeted, so I could probably do that. Anyway, let me say hello. I think we're up and running. Orban meter tells me I might need a little bit more audio. I see VU meters there. Let me go to the main page, get off the streaming page since that seems to be working. I can get rid of the Nixie tubes. Let's turn those off. SWL is there. All the ships at sea. All right, I think we're working. Hello to those on the video side. Mr. OBP is there. I agree, Kevin. The more people that will upgrade to general, the more people that we can go over to 29085 when the band opens up, and have a good time on AM radio over there. Mr. The mighty KUH, also on the video site, and a host of others, trying to get rid of the boom shadow, and we will get started here. Where are the jingle singers? I was working on them profusely earlier so that they might actually come to the Orban audio. Let's see if we can get this started here. The Old Tube Radio Network.
You may not find us on your TV because in case you did not know, we're being brought to you by
OTR.
Brought to you by
27.085 megahertz.
Brought to you by RADI.
The Old Tube Radio Network.
Thank you, Jingle Singers and Mr. Freeberg, RADIO, the Old Tube Radio Network. In, 35 or 36 years of doing this on Saturday evenings, where our Old Tube Radio collectors and operators jump into their Radio Shacks for just a little time to talk about and share their radios with us and give us any information, helpful hints, things like that, checking out microphones, whatever you want to do. That's what we like to do here in the Old Tube Radio Network. My name is Dennis, your net control for the evening. Central California is where we are at. If you're trying to tune us in, give a listen to Channel 11, 27085 in the ground wave zone, or maybe in the skip zone. We did quite well last week with 709 out of Spokane and a few others, so hopefully we'll be able to grab some conditions, even though, according to Mr. OBP, we're still in the no sunspots. But I think cycle 25 has definitely happened. OldTubeRadio.net is where you will find the streaming audio and the good old, as they say, no wires necessary, no monthly fee. Check us out on channel 11, 27085. Starting with the directed net roll call of the shortwave listeners. And then in about 30 minutes or so, we will be checking in the radios. The video stays up for a while, so if you're watching us live on November 16th of 2019, hello. if you're watching the replay, feel free to scroll through and back and forth and find your favorite portion of whatever it is that we do here. So, with that said, this is the last week of our 8-week roster. We will be hopefully grabbing a double zero next time around, but Brian has done a good job for us. I wonder if you are out there 00 over. I actually thought I heard him before we started the net, so he'll probably be in there shortly.
Oh, wait, were you calling for 49er? I didn't realize that lasted for longer than a month.
Oh, no, this is the last of the 8-week period on the roster, so I'm getting you checked in as 00.
Oh, well, good deal. Yeah, I know there is another Brian out here, so thought that might have been him. So thank you very, very much.
Okay, he is out listening on the video side, listening in from Indiana. He is also a ham like yourself. Thanks for checking in. SWL number 1 in the cosmic realm of where everything is beautiful all the time. And I'll be happy to see those nice young men in their clean white coats because they're coming to take me away. SWL number 2, Mr. OBP, one of the originators of this old tube radio network, is hanging out on the video chat side for a while, so go over there and say hello to Kevin. SWL 3, shortwave listener number 4, SWL 5, SWL 6. Let's see, what can I do to the video to make it a little bit more interesting? Let's add the control room S meter so you can give yourself a radio check when you check in. Plus, I'll be able to see if the station goes off the air here. SWL 7.
SWL 7, checking in.
And that is the S meter. Hello, Ed. The S meter is with the, minus 20 dB preamp inserted. So add that into your calculated mix. Sounding good, sir. If you are able to hang around, we'll chat with you in the old tube radio room. Then we head up to SWL 13. And I should, you know what? I haven't even looked at the oldtuberadio.net page because it is possible to jump in and check in there. Lots of stations tuning in tonight from across the band. Hello to British Columbia. I really think if we get conditions like last week, might be able to hear some stations up that way out there in Squamish with Albert, Peter Christian, the 256, 428, and the 111, all keeping their fingers crossed for some good conditions. And Mr. JT is waiting his check-in if I get going. Who else is in North Fork, California? Hello to Germantown, Wisconsin, Hendersonville, Tennessee, up in the balcony tonight, Dallas, Georgia. And the Ground Rod, Squamish. We've got the UK listening in. Hello to Kentucky, Central California, Centerville in Virginia, Woodland Park, Colorado listening in. Checking for those 10-meter beacons here from the Central Valley. There's one at 28,299. So if you hear that, I think it's W6 or K6 FRC. If you hear the FRC beacon, it is open to this area. Hello to Hagerstown, Maryland, up in Friant, Somerville, South Carolina, and right here, right up in the footlights tonight, New York, who's been listening to me. I'm driving them nuts out there, listening to me testing, trying to get everything going here. Let's continue on with the roll call, and we'll get to the radios. SWL 14, SWL 15, SWL 16, SWL 17, SWL 18. And hello to Crazy Bob. What a treat to have Crazy Bob tuning in, who is usually a busy guy on Saturday evenings. So I'm glad you got the night off, or maybe you're maybe you're moonlighting. I don't know. Anyway, Crazy Bob, who knows a lot about these their radios and old tube radios and broadcast radios as well. We have SWL 19. Yeah, Crazy Bob provides the music that went along when these radios were brand new on the shelf back in the late 50s and 60s. Hello, SWL 20.
Number 20 here. See if you can understand me any better this week.
I hear you, and I can understand you, and it's sounding good. I will be interested to chat with you when we start talking with the tube radios and find out what you have been doing on said workbench.
Okay. Wow, you can hear me. That's good. Okay, number 20, checking 2954. 84 and his family, in case he doesn't make it, 135.
All right, I think I will remember all that. We get you checked in. Sounding good, looking good on the attenuated S meter here, so we will talk more. Hope all is going well. Thanks, Harvey.
You betcha. Never hurts to be attenuated. Okay, we'll catch after a while.
Never hurts to be attenuated, unless you get too much attenuation, then that might hurt a little bit. Over to Mr. JT SWL 21, who is out there sandbagging tonight. I hope he has the ground rod polished up. Early check-in, sandbagging in the Wasama Swamp with a cup of pumpkin spice coffee. I'm not a coffee drinker, but that actually sounds good. And the ground rod with the battery-powered electric blanket. It is getting a little bit chilly if you are in the proper areas out there in that Gulf Stream. It was 68, 69 here today, so it's still kind of spring-like or fall-like weather. We haven't really gotten into a winter yet. Thanks, JT, for waving a hand. And the listening in, your comments and knowledge of radio stuff. Let me get you checked in. SWL 22. SWL 23. Shortwave listener 24. SWL 25.
Good evening, Dennis, and the SWL 25. Check it out.
Sounding good. I'm getting used to not running with the preamp here, so everything's very quiet. I think that's going to expedite me trying to get my antenna up in the air a little bit to grab a little bit more signal. You are sounding most excellent. I hope you are having a great Saturday evening. Over.
Oh, I tell you what, I've been looking forward to this all week. Just on, a little bit on and on. Anyway, thanks, Dennis.
Me too. You got to have the old tube radio network along with your pumpkin spice coffee and whatever else that you might have. Going over to page 2, directing that roll call, we'll be talking with the tube radios in just a little bit. If anybody's listening on the crossband, I will need relays if necessary. Listening for SWL 27. Got a proxy check-in for SWL 29. Live and direct and listening in, tuning in from Hendersonville, Tennessee, as they have been doing for many, many years. One of our, if not the first digital SWL on our list, Robert and Teresa, who also have a nice little bevy of glow-in-the-dark radios. Thanks for listening in tonight. Over to SWL 32. SWL 33, myself, the Jingle Singers. Uh-oh. I don't know where Bozo Control went, but he should have been here somewhere. Also, you know what? I'm having problems with my audio again, so I'm going to undo Hello Radio. All right, that should give a little bit more gain. The 30-year-old piece of equipment here is dying on the limiter. So let's take out the limiter, and that should sound a little bit better. SWL 34. I thought it was just me. I thought I had my headphoniums turned down, but I was having problems. SWL 35 from, where are you checking in from? The cow? Okay. Mr. Bill checking in from home base tonight. Out there in Cheyenne. Thanks for riding along with us on the Old Tube Radio Network tonight. SWL 36. SWL 37. SWL 39. SWL 40.
SWL 40 checking in.
And sounding good. You've got that radio sounding good, even with the minor peaks and tweaks. Always a pleasure to talk to stations with that that good sounding audio. Thanks for checking in. Thanks for the help on the tune-up earlier. SWL 41. SWL 42. Let's see, who am I supposed to check? Okay. SWL 43. SWL 44. SWL 45.
Good night, Dennis. 45.
All right, as usual, I'm still getting the bugs worked out here, and they're always changing something on me, so I have to learn something new, which is, the old dog, new tricks thing is definitely in play here. You're sounding good, Paul. If you've got time, we'll check in with some radios coming up.
Great, thanks, Dennis.
And who else is listening? And Mighty Juliet Whiskey. John is saying hello from Iowa on the video site. You know, I'm hearing bad things. I'm hearing more bad things in the audio. I'll go to the rack and we'll just start pounding on it to make things work. Hello from New York. Smarty Jones is in the video side. And Larry785 is glad that the video is working here tonight. I'm glad that it's working too. We are looking for SWL 46. SWL 47.
Well, good evening from the Radio Lounge, SWL 47. It's great back to be in the air chair. Although I do have to say, everyone sounded great last night in the Ahwahnee Hotel in Yosemite National Park. I was listening in the great lounge there, and it was great, awesome. Everyone sounded awesome.
Hey, a nice place to be. It's probably a nice time to be up there. Thanks for the signal reports, and likewise on the awesomeness on the sounding. Thanks for checking in, Mike.
Thank you.
SWL 48. Checked in as 00. Let's see if he's still in the control point. SWL 49.
Oh, yeah, 49er back in here again. Hope you guys are having a fantastic evening, and we sure appreciate what you do, Dennis. Really look forward to OTR every week. Glad to hear there's still a group of guys out here keeping this whole gear going, so that is some cool shit in my book. Thanks for the check-in once again, and there it is. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Using his 2-for-1 coupon tonight. Sounded good. And thanks for the good works for the Old Tube Radio Network, where we will be checking in radios after the roll call, so stay tuned for that. SWL 50.
Yes, he would be here live and direct.
Yeah, we'll be talking with and checking in radios that sound a lot like that. Thanks, Mark. SWL 51.
SWL 51, checking in.
Sounding good, Mr. 305. Dave, I've got you checked in. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Dennis. Have a good evening.
SWL 52. SWL 53. Over to page 4, where we put the Cosmic X in the square for Mr. Board Jammer, one of the individuals that helps keep these stations, these old tube radios, on the air. We got good reports from his handiwork. Over to SWL 55.
55, checking in.
Looking good on the S meter and sounding good as well. Thank you, M&M.
Thank you.
SWL 56.
Good evening, Dennis and the net. 56, just for kicks.
And we should be getting a few kicks tonight. We had a kick last week with some DX coming in, but hopefully we will get some old tube radios as well. So thanks, Phil. Over to, let's see if SWL 58 is by a microphonium somewhere. Hello, 58.
58, saying hello. Hope everybody's having a great Saturday. Thanks for doing that, Dennis.
All right. Hey, good to have you aboard tonight. And I will have to have you personally autograph our old tube radio list here under 58. Thanks for checking in.
Thank you.
All right, we've got Jeremy. Let's try SWL 59. SWL 60.
Thank you, Dennis, and evening time to the fellows out there. Let's get this base checked in. Big Jake's base, the DX2527.
As always, super smooth and super clean. No other way that the 2527 can sound on the old tube radio network. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you, Dennis.
SWL 61.
61, checking in, Dennis.
Like clockwork, 61 is always right there. When we press the 61 button, we'll make it green and get you checked in. Thanks, Dean.
Thanks, sir.
SWL 62.
Evening time, Dennis. This is 62, checking in from downtown Columbus. On time and partly on frequency.
I think you're right there at 27085, channel 11, and on time at about 22 minutes after 8 o'clock Pacific Daylight Time, the old tube radio network. Thanks, Rex. And let's see, I still do not see Bozo Control, but I see the activity over in the green room. They took the, let's see, I'm trying to look at the notes here from Bob and Steve. The Bob and Steve show, it's they spend no amount, there's no amount of money that is too much for them to spend when it comes to the old tube radio network. And this week, Bob and Steve from Ohio, flying in their jet, took the Jingle Singers turkey hunting. I'm glad they didn't come over to this room. They would find the big turkey sitting in the air chair, and they they ended up at Costco. I was just there today. They have pumpkin pies, and yes, they have turkeys. So they are back in the green room. You know, there is something about turkey hunting that if you can do it quickly, you can always get back to the green room and then enjoy a beverage or two or three or four. So they will be ready for the show next week with all the turkeys. Thanks, guys, for keeping the green room up and running. SWL 63, Bubba and all the New York gang who are out there listening to me testing earlier today, but thanks for tuning in the land where the big YAM stations come to play. Waiting for 10 meter AM to open to hear some of those guys coming through. I just don't get them that well on 75 meters. I guess if I put up an antenna, I might, but I know they wouldn't hear me. Over to SWL 64. SWL 65. SWL 66. Shortwave listener 67. SWL 68. The break OTR, go ahead, please. All right, there you are. Audio is a little bit low, but I know it's you, Bob, and we will get 53 checked in. Over.
Okay, thank you, sir.
And there's the official check-in. Speaking of official check-in, let me get a check-in for Ken, SWL 69. If you're listening, Ken, hello to you. We miss you out here. I miss you hearing you on the air. Over to SWL 70. And there is SWL 70, either on the lower sideband or the upper sideband, or maybe both. Maybe both. He said the double sideband with lots of suppressed carry. Thanks, Mark. I've got you checked in. SWL 71. I saw Stan on the big board. Let me scroll down. checking in from Dallas, Georgia. What was the contest today? It was a lot of people on sweepstakes, so a lot of big signals. On 40 meters, but I listened on 20. It seemed like 40. I was getting all the sweepstakes guys were really strong, so must be necessary to run that 1,500 watts when you're on the test. But you can contest without it for sure. Thanks, Stan. Over to SWL 72. SWL 73. Shortwave listener 74. Putting X in the square for Miss Jilly. SWL 75. Wait, it's very quiet out there. SWL 77.
Well, coming to you live from the Tower of Power in the Tower District, and good evening to all the listeners. 77 checking in.
Sounded good from the Tower District. I was out there a little bit earlier over the radio station. I didn't see any road blockings, when they block the road off for a parade or whatever event's going on. It seemed like everything was normal, smooth sailing. Thanks for checking in. SWL 78. That would be a digital check-in from Everett, Washington. I should refresh my who's on list. See, North Carolina is in the balcony, waving a hand. We'll be coming up to you soon. And hello to Kerman, California, that's probably listening in live on 27085 here in Central California. Over to SWL 79. SWL 80. Over to page 4 for SWL 81. I'll keep an eye out. Steve, Mr. Unicorn, was watching the video last week, so he might be out there. Hello to, who is it? Sylvester. Is that it? It's very small type way over here on this screen. P.S. Sylvester is listening in, saying 73. To the Old Tube Radio Network, where we're hoping that your favorite radios check in tonight. Over to SWL 82.
82 checking in from western Biola, across the way from the Big Sandy Ditch, the Big Ditch Banks of Iowa. Good evening.
They're in Uptown on the west side, out there in Biola. We are, it's still sandy. We have not got any precipitation of note. That's weird. And my audio's still up. It's doing weird things here. Any precipitation of note, so the ditch banks are definitely in the sandy mode. Thanks, Ron.
All right, thanks, sis.
And we'll check in SWL 84, Jerry, and then over to SWL 85. That's John and Reedley. We'll also check in SWL 86, 87, and 88. Get the our family affair with the Mountain Maid, Tandy Girl, and Snowy Owl. Over to SWL 89. SWL 90. Out near Madera Town, SWL 92. I think I heard him checking into the Wednesday night, Ned. Over to, boy, that's no good. SWL 93. SWL 98. SWL 98. Fresno Dave checking in here on page 4. Thanks. Over to shortwave listener 103. 103, Cheesy E. How about SWL 109? SWL 110. Shortwave listener 111. Let me see if, maybe I didn't scroll down far enough. See if Reedley Town is in today. I don't see Robert on the big board just yet. SWL 113. 2 radios are coming up. Don't go away. SWL 114.
114, checking in.
I'm not clicking the mouse right here. It takes like 3 clicks to get anything to work around here. SWL 114, who always just needs 1 click on that microphonium to sound good. Thanks, Wayne. We've got you checked in.
Thank you for the check-in.
Then we head over to the digital side. SWL 128 out of Fairfax, Virginia. And John Lee is checking in. Not going to stay up late this evening, so if you're watching the replay or listening, we did get you checked in, John. I hope you are recuperating and feeling better. Get some chicken soup. John's a bit under the weather tonight. Maybe you're showing up from Centerville now, rather than in Fairfax. But anyway, take care. Where are we going? SWL 131. SWL 133. Wait, there is some state. I heard somebody way down. If that's a check-in, try it again. Over. Okay, I'm going to assume that is 133. I don't have the preamp in, but that was just way in the noise. Normally, Dave, you are a wee bit stronger than that, so I've got you checked in.
It was him.
Okay, yeah, with the minus 20 dB, maybe I'm thinking that he should be even not that weak with the 20 dB in, but maybe that's the way it is. All right. I will put the snafu on my end on that one. We got you checked in, Dave, out of Northwest Fresno, over to SWL 135. I have a note to get Mr. Cliff checked in. We will see. Cliff will make appearances through his photo artwork tonight as we check in the radios. You'll see a lot of photos, pictures from Cliff's collection. Over to SWL 137. SWL 145.
Hello. Hello, Dennis. 145 checking in.
And 145 up in Course Gold. You are sounding good. I hope all is going well in the radio room there.
Yeah, I hope I got everything dialed in. I should be on Wednesday this week. Been having a little trouble lately, but I think I got it all dialed in. Should be okay this week.
You are sounding good here on 11 meters, 27085. So thanks for waving a hand to us in the old Tube Radio Network.
All right, thank you, Dennis. Everybody enjoy the rest of your weekend. 73.
73. There was a breaking station. This is the old Tube Radio Network. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, this is 65 checking in.
65, hello. Eric, let me find you on page 3. We've got you checked in. Over.
Thank you. It's been a while, but just letting you know I'm still here.
Yep, you're, let's see, you're still on the list and sounding good live and direct.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Also looking good on the S meter as well. We have Tony is in from Course Gold over to SWL 147. I don't know what's up with my audio here. It just doesn't sound good in the headphones. SWL 147. There we go. And I know I saw Mr. Neal talking about cold, windy, and rainy this week. Currently 38 and rating in North Carolina. Haven't been around the radios much this week. So like myself, I tuned in a little bit today, but I think that's the first time I jumped in the radio room to turn things on. Pretty quiet on bands. All right, well, maybe we'll get that giant sunspot that will turn things back on again. Thanks for jumping into the radio room, saying hello to the old Tube Radio Network. Up to Course Gold yet again for the Jim, the Course Gold Starliner SWL 195. And good evening. Good evening, Jim. Let me put the X in the square. Looks like you've got 8 in a row here on our final episode of this. I'm just trying to get the mouse to work. There we go. All right, we got you checked in. SWL 226. And anyone I missed or would like to check in or make a comment or whatever before we head over to the Tube Radio's OTR listening. Nice and quiet. All right. Hello to just tuning in. Canby, Oregon. Waiting for those DX conditions. And is that Roseville, Michigan? We have a Roseville in California, up near the state capital, near Sacramento. It is in California. I think it was a hub for the railroads in Northern California. A lot of rail workers up there, but I don't know in Michigan what goes on in Roseville. All right, stand by. We're going to reset for the Tube Radio check-ins. I will be right back. The video will stay up. The audio will stay up. And hopefully you will stay up for the old Tube Radio Network and then check in some radios back in a bit. Oh, and I see SWL 44, before I throw everything away here. Ray, let me make the official screen light up for 44. You were snuck in on my list here. Who else did I miss? Station 33 in the Great Lakes, QDV, and N8 near Detroit. I ought to be able to hear you guys on 10 meter AM when the band is open. Who's the 8 station I used to call? I used to talk to K8MLV, but he moved to Colorado, I think. It was K8MLV/0, the infamous Rick. One of my first AM contacts on 75 meter AM. So hello there to 8land. We'll be back in a bit with the Tube Radio's OTR standing by. All right, let's do some working on the 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. All right. Let's get the audio stream set up here. Trying to get all these screens set up here. And I reset the stream. And the reason I do that is I have to have a separate stream for the SWL check-ins and a separate stream for the Tube Radio check-ins for the archives. And we should be good there. I think we're looking good there. Set up that screen there. Find the foot switch. And let's get started with Yield the Jingle Singers. You are listening to the Old Tube Radio Network.
How do you do, ladies and gentlemen? Greetings to you, wherever you are. For music and the latest news from home and from afar, the station for you is
OTR, Old Tube Radio.
The station for you is
OTR.
We open the station for you is OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network, signing into the Old Tube Radio sign-in sheet. There it is for, November 16th, 2019. Hoping to check in some of those great classic tube radios from 1958, late 1958, early 1969, when the FCC banged their gavel or whatever they do and created the citizen radio service from the other 11-meter service in the amateur bands, to about 1978 when the manufacturers just said, well, we're just not going to do tubes anymore. on a regular basis. So that 20-year period is what you will be listening in tonight as our tube radio operators and collectors here in the Central Valley of California, and maybe from beyond, if the conditions hold up, will bring by their classic tube radios tonight, and we will chat with them, and hopefully some of your favorite radios will check in. OTR is listening for radio number 1.
45. 25.
And we have not one but two. Hello, Jerry. Step into the green room where they're doing something with turkeys. My guess is the turkeys are probably frozen, but if you find the right spot, you will probably find some wild turkey. If you know what I mean, wink, wink, grin, grin, and we'll catch you for Radio 2. Radio 1, stepping up into the air chair right now from North Fork, California, which is about 30 miles north and east of Fresno, I believe, up in the foothills. Paul, who has the ultimate radio collection, and we are very lucky that he shares it with us here on the Old Tube Radio Network, and he has been doing that pretty much since the day we started. Hello, Paul.
Yeah, Danny. This doesn't have the best receiver on it, so I'll notify if I make a mistake when you answer your question or something. Bear with me. This is Palomar Skipper 71B.
Wait, sure has great audio there. The Palomar Skipper 71B, I think you said. Let me see if I've got anything from Palomar Electronics. And I'll keep the transmissions short. And give me the radio with the model number of the Palomar again, over.
That's correct, Palomar. I think it was brought in, Tyler in Alaska. Yeah, that's it. Hey, he's the one who's got the one up there just like this one. Same radio exactly. Real nice radio. The thing is all set on copper chassis. I think I got that down there. On a copper chassis, and just got 13 tubes in the thing. Just a big, big radio. This thing's got everything, INL, ANL, 1, 2, mic gain on the thing. That's the louder mic gain on this radio. And AF gain, RF gain, LSB, AM, USB. That has full sidebands with a clarifier, which is very nice. I'm sure you could add something to it. Back to you, Dennis.
Well, let's see what information I've got. I noticed the way they've laid out the controls looks very much like what the amplifiers have. Was there a Skipper or a Palomar 300? Anyway, it matches the amplifier, which in theory could be, I guess, sitting next to that radio, but not turned on and active back in the day, and maybe even still. Palomar Skipper 71B sold for $389.95, believe it or not. It is a 13-tube radio. Typically, most of the radios that had sideband had that extra tube or two to do whatever they needed to do. The audio is great. A lot of 12-volt tubes. I see a 12AX7 in there that is helping out with the audio. And hopefully you're hearing me okay, but as you will hear when you listen to the archived audio, the audio is very nice on that radio, over.
Yeah, okay. Well, this is stock mic that came with the radio. I was lucky enough to get this thing. It's a Euphonics ceramic mic, and it's got the big P on the end of the microphone. So it's definitely an authentic mic, which is real nice. And it seems like it's working pretty good according to the meter. It's doing well. But anyway, I'm running, I think, 27085 on this thing, or maybe a little bit higher, but it's darn close to being on. And like I said, it's wired on a copper chassis, which is real pretty on the thing, with 13 tubes in there. So they're glowing right now, and I'm glad to have the heat in my little room here. Back to you.
It's getting a little bit chilly when the sun goes down here. Not like some of the guys have tell us that they're in 20-degree weather, but we're used to 70 and 80 degrees, so when it drops down to 45 or in the upper 30s, it is a bit chilly. There is the full screen ad. Let me see if I click on it here for the video. Compare the price of Palomar Skipper 71B with that of every imported SSB AM rig. Okay, that's a good point, because at this time, for $389. I'm going to assume that the Yaesu FT101, which I think is what they're probably talking about, was a little bit more than that. The Siltronics was not an imported rig, but to get sideband, to get decent sideband, that was one way to go. This ad also, it must be from Southern California because it talks about where in Southern California to see and find this item of interest. Palomar engineers were near San Diego. Escondido, California is down in the south part of the state. And I think they got the name from Palomar. There's a big observatory called the Palomar Observatory out in that area. But there you go. That is the radio that was infamous back in the day. And thanks to Paul, it is now famous once again here in 2019. Back to you for another transmission. Over.
Yeah, you bet. That is, I got some information coming up on my 73. Hopefully, if it'll make it, I'm going to bring it in tonight, too. Information on the starting with this thing and everything and who made it. So maybe I can add a little something to what you have. It's very interesting, very nice radio. It's like a polished aluminum body outside of the thing. Part of it's black, part of it's polished aluminum. I guess it's maybe just chrome. I don't know. Maybe just chrome. I think it is chrome, yeah. But it's very, very clean. Got a big speaker grill in the front with a tune on the thing. And this thing, I believe it'll tune to higher than what it says here. Let me see if I can read this thing to you. I don't forget it on there, but I think it tunes a little higher than what the microphone says, than what it says. I can't find it. Maybe you got that on there. But anyway, it's variable tune on the thing, and it's crystal control for receive and transmit. One crystal handles them both for the thing. So that, I would say it's BFO. No, it's not. It's full crystal control. I'm reading this for going along here. So like that. Anyway, that's about it. I think I'm probably on frequency, like I said. I think I'm between 85 and 86. Be interested if you have a chance to check it. Thanks, Dennis.
All right, don't go. We'll take one more transmission to check the frequency. I've got a close-up of the front panel screen. I see the microphone, almost like a microphone plug, like a TRS plug. There's a clarifier. You've got your upper sideband, lower sideband selector switch. It's got a mic gain, which is kind of nice, right there in the front. And then a selectable A&L between 1 and 2, or two, I should say, two-position selectable A&L, and the S-meter, which may or may not be lit. So let me go ahead and take a transmission, and I'll sneak over to the receiver here and see where you are on the frequency for channel 11, 27085. Back to you.
Yeah, okay. The thing. It wouldn't be mounted in a mobile. It's too heavy for that. But other than that, it's working well, I think. Hope you got enough time. Back to you.
Perfect. I've got you 27085.4, so about 400 cycles high, but I believe the FCC allowed you 700 or some window with that. And crystal control, not too much you can do about it. I suppose there are ways. I can't remember seeing any pictures of people putting the VFOs in that for the sideband operation, but yours looks like it's original issue, and it is sounding good. I've done the triple box up here with the S-meter, so if you're watching the video, you can give yourself an S-meter. And remember, I've got the minus 20 dB preamp on to cut down the noise, and it's still sounding pretty good. All right, Paul, getting us started off with the Palomar Skipper 71B. It's a good radio, kind of a rare radio as well, but it's the people that have them really, really do like them. So thanks for bringing it by.
Yeah, thanks for checking it in.
And then stepping up into the air chair is Jerry, SWL25. And while you do that, I want to say hello to stations listening in. DJ, is that DJ Lunch Meat? Sounds like something off of a Frank Zappa album. Says he loves the Radio Shack. It suffices to get me on the air and to get things on the internet. Hello to David, who is a former Fresno resident, waving a hand. Well, Fresno is still here, such that it is. And we have been, I don't know when you were around, but believe it or not, we were doing the Old Tube Radio Network from, 1985, 1986, continuously up until right now. So maybe if you were radioactive around then, you might have dropped by channel 11 back in the wacky early days. Hello to our new stations listening in Linwood, Washington, hoping for some conditions. And Jackson, Ohio might be one of our stations on the video side as well. Let me see if Radio 2 is ready to go. Hello, Jerry.
Hello, Dennis. 25 checking in on the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB Sidebander 2-piece radio with a spot button. That way you can calibrate, kind of get them both talking the same language, and then using the non-powered banana mic that I believe that was made by Electro Voice. That still has the bass, by the way. I hadn't dropped it. A lot of people, you know, you lift the mic, sometimes the bass sticks to it for a minute and then it falls on the ground and breaks. Well, this one's original, and well, that's about it. I know you know this radio, so back to you, Dennis.
Well, I know the radio and the fact that you were gracious enough some time ago to let me sit in the air chair over there, and we did a full Old Tube Radio Net check-in from that radio. The radio we're seeing on the video is a likeness of the Mark III. Those of you who have the Mark III will say, yeah, there's some differences in things, but that is for those who don't know what the Mark III is, if you're watching or listening. It is one of the ultimate rigs back in the day. 1972 to 1976 is when that particular radio would have been available for sale. And if you happen to have $700 or so, plus or minus a few cents, you would be able to strap it to your bike or put it in the Pinto and drive home. A great radio, a workhorse, as you can hear how nice it sounds now and always. Eagle, the Brownings, of course, notorious for not only their great receivers, but the great audio as well, and the fact that they never, at least for their base radios, they never did mash everything up into one box, I don't think, on the base radios. I know the mobiles they did. Give another transmission on that Browning radio.
Yeah, well, back in the day, you know, in the 60s, you know, when they had the Chevelles and the 442s and the GTOs, you had a lot of space, you know, over at the doghouse and room. But I don't know if you have enough room for a two-piece radio like this. Maybe the Sonars, like the Model Gs or Es, and actually the FS30. 3023s, and yeah, they were actually designed as a mobile too. So, but back in the day, you know, when you had real cars, you had a lot of room. So, but anyway, Dennis, thanks for checking it in. The Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB, the on-the-air light, red on-the-air light is on and glowing, and everything seems to be working. So. Thanks for checking in. By the way, Paul's radio sounded great. I think it was a Paul Marr, I think. But anyway, whatever it was, sounded great down here. So, thanks for checking it in, Dennis. Back to you.
Thanks for bringing it by. There are a lot of lights and meters and dials and knobs. When you sit in the air chair to drive that thing, you definitely have to have your checklist. Sort of like, let's see, who would have been driving at that time? Like Parnelli Jones or Roger Ward or... you know, one of the famous race car drivers at that time, going over the checklist to make sure everything is good to go on the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB, our Radio 2 on the Old Tube Radio Network here tonight, where we like to talk about and chat with the classic tube radios on 11 meters that were brand new in the day, and maybe also give you some flavor of what it was like to be on the air, how it sounded, and pretty much the demeanor. Everybody is taking a turn, making a transmission. Maybe we're not using our call letters. We could, although it's not required anymore, but it's always fun to hear the sound. I see SWL78. If I didn't get you checked in, I guess my short-term memory is really short tonight, but I want to say hello to Richard up there in Everett, Washington, and let me put up the big screen here, and we'll get you officially checked in on the SWL side. So we've got, that's right, we've got all the records. I'm 33, 45 just checked in, and now we've got 78. So all the classic records are in there. Also, hello to Rob up there in Colorado, mentioning that there are no band openings yet tonight on 27085. And he has definitely copied us before. We had some band opening last week up to the Spokane area. Currently remodeling the radio room. Good for you, because I wish I could do that. And most of the gear has been removed and repainting new carpet. Yeah. Great stuff. Great stuff up there in Zero Land. I'm not sure what's going to happen, what I'm going to do here. But I know how it is. There's just so much stuff going on here. When I take it all apart, one, it will either fall apart, or two, all the wiring will go bad. And if I do, I'll probably have an old tube radio with just one rig and a microphone, because nothing will go back the way it was. So hopefully you will not have that issue, and will enjoy upcoming 2020 with the new Radio Shack. And we hope to talk to you at some point on some frequency, some band. The Old Tube Radio Network, Real Radio is going in the dark. Let me see if the jingle singers are somewhere where they should be, so they can do a little ID for us here on the Old Tube Radio Network.
How do you do, ladies and gentlemen? Greetings to you, wherever you are. Your favorite slot on the dial by far is known to you as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
the station for you is
OTR.
The station for you, OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network. 27085 is where we are transmitting in Central California, listening for radio number 3. I hear a carrier, but no audio, OTR. Okay, there was audio that time, and I caught a 5, so could be 45, 25, something. Give it another shot. Look at the wiggle meters and the blinky lights and all those cool things. Or maybe it's one of those really old radios that they don't give you any of that stuff. Go ahead.
Yeah, Dennis, that's Paul.
Okay, just working on some audio. The signal is there, so we'll see if we get some audio. 357 is watching on the video side. Hello to you. And DJ Lunchmeat's heard about us on one of the Demco Facebook sites. We occasionally get some Demco radios checking in. There are a couple of them out there, so we'll see if we can't get a Demco radio online tonight here in the Old Tube Radio Network, listening for Radio 3. And let's see, 44. Did I get you checked in, Ray? I think I did. Let me just make it official. I guess I should check my page. I guess I should check the page. I would answer my own question to see if I put the X in the square, and I did. So thanks for that. OTR standing by. See if Paul is getting the audio working on that next radio.
45 is right again.
Big time sound in the Old Tube Radio Network. Go ahead. Over.
Okay, we'll see what happens. You give it just a gentle little tap on the top, and it's starting to work again. It looks like it's working better than it did before. Anyway, if it'll stay in there, we'll stay with it. This is my Skipper 73B.
All right, the Palomar Skipper sounding good. It's got the good audio like the other one. Let me see which Palomar I need. The 73. Is 73 Charlie or Bravo?
Bravo.
Interesting. I show a 73C and a 73. So what I'm going to do, let me see if we've got 73. There is the 73 ad. What I'll do is put that up, and we'll see what we got. Just get some information. But I want to hear more from that radio because you got it working well. Over.
Yeah. Okay, well, 73C, like in Charlie. Yeah, I think you'll find it then.
Okay, C as in Charlie. I do think I saw that, and we are looking. And hey, you know what? It says from your collection. I always like it when we can get a radio that matches exactly the one that we might be listening to. Go ahead, over. Uh-oh.
Well, sometimes it does. There's something in there that has to do with a little cleaning, I think. Give me a little
Okay, yeah, it sounds like a loose connection or something, because when the audio is there, it's fine. The carrier never drops out. And this has audio comparable to the 71B. I'm not sure if your receiver might be a little bit better on this one. The date of issue, 1973 to 1974. So this was right in the thick of things as radios. 72, 73, there were a lot of really fancy solid-state radios coming out that would compete with this. Sideband was going full force. I can remember Channel 16, if you were back in that time, Channel 16 upper and lower, and then people were starting to modify the radios with VFOs to get above Channel 23, and of course the export radios from Japan were able to do the frequencies up that way. But if you were looking for a good sideband radio, this would be it. Also 13 tubes, and on sideband you had the 15-watt PEP due to the sideband. Paul, is it, let's see if it's working with the audio. Over.
Okay. I think it's better now. Maybe it is. I don't know. I'm watching the meter. It's swinging a little bit. Don't like it. I think the microphone's getting rather weak on the thing. Maybe I'll try to, if I get it while it's still working. Anyway, Swan Electronics was the manufacturer of fine amateur radio, as you know. They were located in Oceanside. And it turns out that Herb Johnson, who founded the company in 1960, he was the one that introduced Palomar Skipper liner CB radios in 1960. So anyway, that's kind of interesting. It's 73B, it's the same thing. It's got the copper chassis, and these things are completely hand-wired. There's no boards in these things at all. Beautiful, just beautiful when you open it up. Anyway, the microphone I'm talking on, which is not doing the job, is a Turner mic, hand mic. I don't believe it's a factory mic that came with this radio. And I haven't tried the other mic on it. Maybe it'll straighten it up. But in the meantime, we're getting by. So anyway, back to you, Dennis. Thanks.
All right, thanks. You have, Paul, you have plenty of audio. If I were to say anything, I'm thinking you might have too much. Occasionally I'm hearing what sounds like a bit of flat topping. But that radio does it have a mic gain? The other one had a mic gain on the front, I thought. RF gain, AF gain. I mean, this one, you know what? This has a squelch. Let me go to the close-up. That's interesting. I believe the other radio where the squelch had a mic gain, and I don't see that on the 73C. Very interesting, unless they put it somewhere else. So you've got plenty of audio. Don't knock that. There was just some type of a loose connection going on. And I will also check the frequency on this one on your next go-around. Over.
Okay. Yeah, it seems to be working. But newer. Anyway, no, they put a squelch in the place of gain on the thing. So that's the difference in the thing. Other than that, it's basically the same radio. But they're supposed to clean it. It's been a lot better received. They did quite a bit of work on the receiver thing and made it much, much better than the C. And that was a problem they were known for having all the time. But they got it straightened up. So they only made the two. That was it. That was the time when they were real popular, and I guess there wasn't enough for them to make any more. Too bad. Anyway, thanks again, Dennis.
All right, thanks for bringing it by. This radio is about 100 cycles lower than the other one, so it's a little closer to being right on 27085. And that was one of the issues with sideband, because a lot of the radios, some of them did, but most of them didn't have a built-in, what I call clarifier, a way to move your frequency. And so when you had two stations talking back and forth to each other, it didn't matter if they were off frequency, because you would turn your clarifier to listen in the other one. But if you were listening in, if you were SWLing, I remember on my Regency Imperialist kind of using the rock and the VFO, the clarifier back and forth, and when people were way off frequency, and if you got 3 or 4 people in it, it could be a challenge. But I don't know. What was the FCC thinking, saying, well, why can't we rock the frequency a little bit when we're doing sideband? Radio number 3, the Palomar Skippers 73C, made its rounds 1973 to 74. And I don't have a price point on this one, but I'm going to say it's probably very close to the $400 range like the other one. Sounds great, Paul. You will be happy to hear how it sounds on the archived audio. Plenty of volume coming out of the radio with no problem. Thanks for bringing it by.
Yeah, thanks for checking it in. Yeah, this thing went up from 389 to 395. Yeah. So it went up just a little bit between the 2 year younger radio. So they stayed the same price in that area right there. Anyway, again, thanks again for checking it in, Dennis.
And as always, thanks for bringing it by. We enjoy the radios and our radio operators who take the time to check things in. There's the radio. Let's do that one. That is from, that is also from Paul. I like the world globe. Nice touch behind that one. But this, you can see the case, the chrome case and everything. Very, very similar to Skimper amplifier. But that thing looks like it just came out of the box. Very, very nice display on that radio. The Old Tube Radio Network, Radio 4, coming up next. I wanted to make a comment. I want to say hello to our new stations listening in from Spokane, where we had some conditions last week, so maybe we will do things again. Richard mentioning possibly a dirty relay. It's hard to say, because his transmit was staying on, but it certainly did sound like some type of a dirty contact of some sort, so Paul will be looking into that. Also, hello to Butterbean out there in Northeast Georgia. Good to have you riding along the Old Tube Radio train tonight, and we're standing by for Radio 4.
Well, stand by. No more. Sit down.
This is the, let's see, if I stand up, you won't see me on the video, so I will stay seated. And what will I do? I think I need to grab the SWL sheet first.
Yeah. Would you please check in SWL 37, please?
37 is now officially checked in over.
And under. And here we are. I would like to check in a radio, if that'd be all right with you.
That is a good thing, seeing as how this is the Old Tube Radio Network, and I get paid the big bucks. Well, actually, no, I don't. But anyway, it's my job here to make sure that all radios wanting to get checked in do. So go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Well, I want to check in this radio here that's got 9 old tubes in it. I want to check in my general radio telephone, a Super MC11A 24-channel tuber that glows in the dark. This is with the little man in the wheelchair up there in the corner with the IBs, and we're running this here with a handheld stock microphone. Over.
All right, I'm waiting for the radio to show up on the video, and there it is, the Super MC11A. Chris at the microphone. You sound a little bit better this week, Chris, so I hope you are feeling better. At least you're in the Radio Shack. And the coax is connected to this cool radio that we're taking a look at and listening to, the Super MC11A from General Radio Telephone, beautiful downtown Burbank. Over.
No, well, I guarantee you, it's still hanging on. It hadn't left yet. It's not as bad as it was, but it's still there in that chest and the throat. Excuse me, but it's definitely still there. I'm working on trying to get rid of it all.
Yeah, it takes a while. Just the weather is sort of cooperating. It's not 20 degrees outside, but it is getting cooler, but you do sound better. So, all right, well, I'm glad we can coax you in for a radio this evening. Definitely don't want you to overdo it. Let me put up the closer picture of the cool General Radio Telephone with, is, as you accurately said, 9 tubes. The infamous ECLL 800 is the output. I'm trying to get my thing here. The output modulator phase, whatever it is. That's the big one in there that does all the good stuff.
Yeah, and it is still working. I see meters around here going that way, you know, from left to right, back and forth, you know. It can't make up its mind what to stay to the right or to the left, so, you know, but it's kept that bouncing like it's on a trampoline.
Well, yeah, we don't recommend taking your radio on a trampoline, although if it needs a little bit of cajoling like Paul's radio did, maybe a toss on the trampoline would help. But that one is working quite nicely for Radio 4. There's also 2 transistors in there somewhere. I think they might have something to do with the 12-volt conversion, but pretty much all tubes and a good thing. If you're up to it, give us another transmission.
Okay, well, at least I wanted to get one radio checked in anyway. I would have been in there earlier, but we was watching a really, really good movie with Dwayne Johnson and something, Jason Strathmore. What's it called? Yeah, Hobbs and Shaw. I know you don't watch too many movies, but it was a funny movie. It was very good. Dwayne Johnson and him, they played excellent parts in it. But if anybody hasn't seen it, I recommend you go get it at the store or borrow it from somebody or whatnot. It is a good movie. But radio tube radios are really number one.
Well, on a Saturday evening for a few minutes anyway, Hobbs and Shaw. I think the last movie I saw was a Kansas City Bomber, which is what, 1972. Raquel Walsh, about roller derby. And there are a lot of new streaming services going on now. Disney Plus, and Amazon's got, so you could see a movie a day and still not scratch the surface. Radio number 4, the general radio telephone, Chris at the microphonium. If you're watching the video, there it is up in the corner. That's what that radio looks like if you are driving it. Putting in a good signal tonight. And we have the audience. Mr. DDX, or Ray is saying super audio from the Super MC11A. It's always nice when I go back and watch the video or listen to the audio archive when the radio's checking in sound better than all this audio gear directly into the sound card. Thanks for checking in.
All right, thank you, Dennis. And I'm going to get out of here. I'll probably be listening anyway off and on, but you have a good evening, and thank you for letting me check this thing in. I'm clear.
And someone asked a while back, and I didn't mention, about how, and I don't want to take too long because sometimes it's kind of boring, but how the audio is working. The audio, if you are not listening over the air and are either watching the video or listening to the audio stream, the radio that I'm using has an output, an analog audio output in the back, which I put directly into the sound card. So that's trying to keep the audio as true as possible. I do a little bit of high frequency roll off to keep the hiss out and a little low frequency roll off to keep anything below 80 hertz humming and buzzing. And then there may be a bit of compression or limiting on the very high peaks to keep it from distorting the sound card. But other than that, it's not processed at all. So what you're hearing is pretty much what you would be hearing if you were here in Central California listening in on your favorite radio. And then all that is mixed in with the audio garbage you see off to my right here. And that is the Old Tube Radio Network, thanks to our radio operators. And the Jingle Singers are saying it is time to head over to that studio. I guess the Wild Turkeys are going to do whatever they do here at the Old Tube Radio Network.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you, wherever you are. The friendliest station for you by far is known to all as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
the station for you is
OTR.
The radio for you, OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network. And Ray, I guess Disney Plus had 10 million subscribers in one day. I don't know. I don't watch movies that much. 10 million subscribers in one day. It was almost as big as the CB craze back in 1974 when C.W. McCall sang Convoy, and there was 4 million CBers all in one day. But I guess the price is right. You just wait. It's the old bait and switch. They'll get you in, and the price will go fivefold. We are looking for Radio 5 on the Old Tube Radio Network. Hello, Harvey. I hear you, and to see you on the S meter. Over.
Alrighty. Okay. How does this one sound? Too loud? Too what?
No, it sounds good. The audio is good. I may jump over and put on the preamp on your next transmission and see if that helps our listening pleasure here at the Old Tube Radio Network. But everything on your end is doing well, I think. Over.
Okay. This is the Tram Titan 2 with a Turner Super Sidekick on it. Anyway, it's turned up about 1/4. The Super Sidekick has a internal type control on the bottom. Sometimes there's a hole where you can adjust it. Sometimes you have to drill a hole through the bottom plate to get to the control that's already ready for you on the circuit board. And I think it's turned 3/4 up or whatever. I'm not sure what that is. I have to probably look it up to see if it's compression control or something. I just don't know.
Sounds good. You got plenty of audio. I added the preamp to bring things up on my end. You don't want any more audio gain. It's you have plenty loudness. I think it would end up getting a bit mushy. I'm showing a shot of a Tram Titan 2. I always love that radio. It's so utility. It doesn't have the wood sides. It doesn't have golden knobs, but it has those rack handles and that giant SWL meter. So if you're into the basics, and that radio is definitely more than basic, it is for you. So I think you've done well. It sounds fine. No sputtering. Carrier's right up there. So I think you've got a winner. Over.
Well, I'll probably keep this mic or one like it with the radio. I took the incandescent bulbs out, put white LEDs in. I think it looks better, even though no matter what you do, the meter looks kind of yellow. But I like it. It was purchased at a really decent price, so I've been looking for one, couldn't believe when I saw this, but there we are. It does have a switch in the back. It turns up the power a slight bit. Not a whole lot, but I think if someone was running this with a modulator, and they kick that switch on, that would give the modulator maybe 30, 40 more watts on output swing. So maybe that's why it's there. Because it certainly doesn't do a whole lot, without anything, unless it's pushing something. So by itself, it's only a little bit more.
Yeah, good. I jumped over to sideband. Those watching or listening heard the sideband, and I was trying to hear how your audio sounded on the upper or the lower side, and it was okay. It's a little bit on the audio peaks. It's a little bit, I call it mushy or fuzzy, and I don't know if that's the microphone you're using or if it's hitting the audio too hard, but it sounds good on sideband. Sounds nice and clear, so I think all is okay that way. Over.
Okay. Well, I like it. And the sideband works on this, I think. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, the did work.
Yes, it does. I went back to sideband, and there you were, without the carrier inserted, sounding good. So I think sideband audio is a little clearer than the AM audio, but it is good.
Well, I could probably crank the mic down. The internal control, let's see if this switch works there. Yeah, okay. The internal control, I'm turning the mic over. Here you go. Okay. Hello. Okay, that's the internal control. Turned all the way off.
Oh.
And that's the internal control turned all the way up. And that's about where I had it. Any difference?
You know, I did not detect, especially when you're saying all the way up and all the way down, I'm not hearing all the way anything. It wasn't much difference at all, over.
Oh, yes. Well, let me crank the mic down a little bit. Oh, yeah, I cranked it down a little bit there. But anyway, okay, I kind of like this thing. Little trivia. The receive, I think it's the mixer crystal or whatever that crystal is. Let me see. Yeah, I can look it up here because it's interesting. It's the first receive oscillator crystal, 31.5 megahertz. You stick that in the radio, and then you kind of align it, and then you have the trimmer cap that kind of helps fine-tune all your channels. You can slide that quite a bit, but it basically lines up the dial everything. 31.5 megahertz crystal. Well, Browning uses a 31.4 megahertz receive crystal. So I was thinking, what would happen if I swapped them? And I have several 31.4s for the Browning, because they're in, about 4 or 5 different receivers of the Browning. So I stuck that in, and sure enough, the dial wasn't lined up, but I was able to slide it right back in. And then if you see, if you retune the rest of the radio, it works just fine. So I'm wondering if when Tram came out with these and Browning came out with these, their receivers, who decided on what, and did one manufacturer have to change because they couldn't use the same system or setup the other guy did exactly? So they changed by 100 kilocycles there. So I think that's kind of neat. This receive crystal wise, Browning has some external crystal slots for the R2700 and R2700A receivers, where you could put several in there and have fixed receive. Tram on the 27E radios put the external receive crystal on the outside, and I'm not sure if the Tram Titan has that also on the outside, but the Titan 2 has it inside on the bottom of the chassis, so you have to stick it in upside down, take the whole thing apart to put your fixed receive crystal in, which wastes of time. But the crystals can be had. You can kind of find them, 4 megahertz. Browning's is a 4.770 megahertz receive crystal for 11, and Tram is a 4.870. How about that? Anyway, I'm going to look for those. I don't have any for the Tram. Anyway, back to you.
So possibly if you went to your Tram or Browning radio and you thought you were on channel 10, but you were on channel 11 or vice versa, then you know you've got the crystals swapped between the two radios.
Well, the oscillator crystal is 100 kc different, so it throws the dial off, but you can realign real easy. The fixed crystals are weird, and it's kind of the way the radios seem to work. Channel 11 for 4770 kilocycles is channel 11, but to go to channel 12, you've got to go down in kilocycles. So yeah, the higher the channel number, the lower the frequency. Most radios are set up that way. Because I finally found that a crystal chart for the Titan II, and it shows, you know, the 4 megahertz crystals, and it shows each channel to receive, and the higher the channel number, the lower the frequency of the crystal. So that's weird, but that's how it works.
I think these radios were designed by the CIA to keep people from copying things, just make it difficult. And then, you know, my speed is building a crystal radio with the little germanium diode and the clip lead and the high ohmage headphones. So that's beyond what I can do. Radio 5, we're talking with Harvey, who's on the Tram Titan II, which was the next step up from the Tram Titan, where they added single sideband receive, upper and lower sideband receive, and then the double sideband transmit, which we got a little demo of moments ago. Maybe that's why it sounds so loud on AM, because I'm listening to both sidebands. You're just dropping the carrier out of it. And it was in good company with, what was my other favorite double sideband radio, the Regency Imperial. So these came out, 1966 or 67, but double sideband didn't, I guess it was easy to do, but it didn't last long in the scheme of things for citizen band radio when you were on channel 16 and taking up a lot of space, when people were sliding their VFOs around and you were 6K wide instead of 3K. Harvey, I think it is good. I think you might be able to wrap it up, put the screws all the way into the case. And like I said, I think you said that the price was right on this one. I'm not sure if the station that you got it from will ever be able to tune in or listen into the Old Tube Radio Network, but I'm sure they'll be pleased at how it sounds. Over.
And Roger, well, I told him about OTR, so he knows where to tune to check if he wants to. But had to do a little bit to this, but not that much, considering what sometimes you have to do to all the radios. Excuse me. I picked up a whole bunch of modulator and final tubes to this one. 6GK6 are the one modulator, 2 final tubes. Only one final works on AM, and the 2 work on sideband. Although you don't get a whole ton of sideband out of this, but that's how it's supposed to work. And then I think it's the first RF received to, let me check, it's kind of semi-important. The, let's see. No, not the RF amp, where is it? Oh yeah, the first and second receive mixers. 6DK7. You have 2 of these tubes in there, and replacement-wise, I think there's another number or 2 that you could use if you could find them, but not too easily found replacement all over the place, you know. So you can find the tube, but they do tend to go out fairly quickly. similar to the 12-18-7 receive tubes in the Browning receivers. So it's good to have a bunch of them around. And I stocked up on a bunch of them, just about 5 in, and they're all real good. So tube-wise, for the Tram, Titan, and Titan 2, I've got a bunch there. So anyway, tube-wise, someone needs a tube for one of these radios, around here, I guess. I can get them a tube real easy. Anyway, Tram Titan 2, sideband works, looks good on the front, and that's about it.
You can't go wrong with a few extra tubes around the Radio Shack. Sounds good for Radio 2. I know what I was going to ask. The infamous, since it's got that giant S meter, I don't know if you're in a capacity to be able to view it, if it's working, if you don't have the proper glasses. But I'm just curious what my signal reading is on that giant Tram Titan 2 S meter. Over.
Well, that's the problem. You don't want to know. That's the one thing that's keeping this radio from going in the cabinet, but I may put it in anyway. The S meter reads low, and I looked up that problem, and I changed every part that they seem to indicate is the problem. In fact, I have a second meter to this thing. Now, what's interesting is my meter is bluish on the plastic on the front. Oh, by the way, you're giving me a free. Is blue on the front part of the meter, and this other meter that I have up here is black. And I believe it's supposed to be black. How this one became blue, I don't know. I don't know if it's fade or what, but it's definitely blue. It kind of almost looks like somebody painted it, but I'm not going to take it off and repaint it. Although I guess I could. Yeah. So anyway, I wired the other meter into this, which is simply easy. I just kind of laid it over the back and took the wires off, put it on it, and it does the same darn thing. Reads low. And all the parts that needed to be changed, I changed. The receiver of the S meter tube, I changed it, even though it was really good. Changed everything that I could think of and that they mentioned on the internet for low S meter reading. Still can't get it to read higher. I got it to read a little higher, but not much. So you're giving me a 3.
A 3 is good. I'll take a 3, and I'll work for a 4. But it's all relative. I remember that people just get really upset when you'd give them an S meter reading, and they said that can't possibly be right. I should be 20 over. It's like, I don't know. It's just what the S meter says. I can hear you just fine, and you can hear me just fine, and I can hear you just fine. And maybe, like I said, maybe it will make it into the shelf. You have done a nice refurb on that. One of the guys I talked to, he redoes the FT102s. He's a heart surgeon. His name is Mal. He's kind of infamous for Malcolmizing the radios. And he said he really enjoys, his profession, but he says, I really enjoy working on the radios because when someone comes in and I do, a heart surgery or something, he says, I know I've done my best job and everything is good and they've got their heart is working better, but the rest of them, whatever condition the rest of them came in, it went out the same way. So if they're in bad shape otherwise, I've only fixed part of it. And he says, when I work on a radio, not only can I work on the part that was bad, but I can go to the other parts and spiff them up a little bit, or, I can make the whole thing good again. He says, I can't do that when someone comes in for heart surgery. So you should be glad that you are able to do all those extra things on the radio, and maybe the meter isn't quite where it's at, but I'm sure the radio feels better. Radio number 5, the Tram Titan 2 on the old Tube Radio Network. And before you go, let's see. It has the Collins mechanical filter somewhere in the front end. I wonder what the filter width is on that. If it's like a 3 or a 6 KC or something, that'd be interesting to know. And then I have a note that's saying one of those sold on eBay about a year ago for about $280, which probably is a little bit less than they cost brand new, but it's not bad for 2019. Thanks for bringing it back to you.
Well, there's 2 on me right now. One's got a buy about for $245, and the other one's around $200, a little over, something like that. And, okay, I got mine for about $125, so there you go. Anyway, I turned you on at theme control. By the way, Dennis, you're now doing a 9.4.
9.4 sounds like something really bad on the Richter scale. All right, I won't holler at you then, because I knew I should be at least an S9. So I feel better now. Radio sounding good. Let's see. I wanted to say something. Oh yeah, I wanted to check in. Joseph SWL24 stopped by and says hello to all the Old Tube Radio Network SWLs and Old Tube Radio operators, and I will give him an official check-in on frequency. And then the Jingle Singers, who are having a great time over in the other studio with the Wild Turkey, also want to do their bottom of the hour ID, which we missed. So Harvey, here they go. The Jingle Singers on an S9. Here we go.
You're listening in the latest style.
27.085 megahertz. Channel 11, Old Tube Radio.
In wonderful
Fresno, California.
And we are looking for radio number 6.
45.
And, all right, Paul, you got me fooling with my equipment here. Seeing if I can go back with the preamp. Go ahead, 45, over.
No, when the Jingle Singers have a little cold or something, but it may be my receive on my radio, I don't know. They seem like they're a little alien a little bit. Anyway, I want to check in my T-Berry Model T.
Okay, on the T-Berry Model T. I don't know. I worked, for those who were listening on the stream I worked on the Jingle Singers on their feed between the internet and the radio, and I thought I kind of had everything down. I wanted to run a little bit more processing on them, but I think somehow the wires are getting discombobulated, and I'll put it under the Rolodex card that they still need work. If you were in the studio where they're at, I'm sure they sound stellar, but once it gets over the air, items happen. All right, let's talk about the radio. And what you said was the T-Berry and the Model T, and I think there are 2 versions of that. I think there's a 23 and a 40 channel version. Is that right?
That's correct. This is the good one. Well, I say it's a good one. The one I like. 23 channel, all tuber. I like the all tuber radios. They're a sweet thing. It's a nice radio dance. I'll go into a little bit. This thing is T-Berry Electronics Corporation in Indianapolis, USA, are the people in back of it. They had sent it to Japan, but they made it to Panasonic specs. The radio did a heck of a good job on the thing. Radio has 10 tubes, 23 channel crystal control, plus a space between the 22 and 23 for another channel. This one doesn't have it. It's just blank in there. The front of the radio is normal squelcher. The only thing about it is it's got range gain on the thing. I'll go over that a little bit. Right now it looks like it's working fair, maybe not real good on the thing. I'll go to the lower, the range, drop it down, and And, that looks like it's nice doing a better job on the low. Back to you.
It sounds good. I turned the preamp off, and the audio's nice. I could run the preamp here, but I'm trying to run stations without the preamp and see how I'm copying everything. So it's got enough signal and audio to be working that way. Boy, that S meter sure reminds me of the one that I had on my Realistic Navajo, the TRC-23B, and it's probably, since it's an import radio, it might have been the Japanese, with the red and the green S meter. 10 tubes on that. 6GH8 for the output modulator, but nice on the audio, and the signal is good. So if you want to try some range gain stuff, we'll go back to you and see what you got.
Okay, I'll run it on low. I kind of like the way the meter's working on the thing. Maybe not be quite as loud, but I think, I don't know. Depends on where I sit on the microphone. You know how you get a little far away, then it kind of messes up on me a little bit. Anyway, this is quite a nice radio. It has a large speaker on the thing. And on the back, you can load, play, tuning, and everything on the back. So you can load it up to max radio on the thing, which is stock, of course, or a little bit better on this one. And it's a nice looking radio with black and brushed aluminum front. And the main cover is black winkle finish, which is really attractive. The radio I'm using is an Aesthetic TMD 107. That's why I'm having a little trouble with the range on the thing, because this is power mic. Go back to a standard mic, it probably would be a lot simpler. I'll kick it over here just to the high on the power mic, and I don't know. Maybe it looks like it's swinging better now. Anyway, that's about it, Dennis. Back to you.
Back to me in the studio. All right, I went back to the S meter, and I took the preamp off, so you actually see a little bit more movement. It peaking, it puts peaks at about S6, and both ways your peaks are about S6. The audio clarity for my book, since I'm copying it okay, I think is better with it off, but I have a feeling if you were in the noise or having hard copy, the range expand is doing exactly what it does. It's keeping your resting carrier, your average modulation, up a little bit more. So you could run it off if you want for this conversation, and you are peaking at the same amount. It's just when you put the range boost on, your average modulation comes up. So my noise level isn't that high tonight, and it's working both ways. I think the audio is good both ways. It might be a little bit cleaner with it off, but there's no problem. I think it's adjusted perfectly, exactly. It's doing exactly what you hoped it should do with a name like Range Expand. Over.
Great. I'll leave it down. I like the way it's swinging a little bit better on the down position. This one I have a heck of a time tuning these in. You really should put an amplified mic on one of these radios with that range in on the thing. You got to get it just in the perfect place, or it doesn't sound good at all. But other than that, I like the radio real well. I don't know what year this thing was manufactured. I think it's supposed to have to be in, I think probably the early 70s. I need to look that up and put it on my notes here. Other than that, that's all I can tell you about the thing. It's just a nice, sweet radio, and made in Japan with the Japan expertise. Back to you.
Yeah, I think you're right, Paul, on the manufacture date. It's the Panasonic chassis, and it's the 23-channel version. So it's akin to like a T-Berry 123B, and I think those were 1972 to about 1976, and of course 76 everything changed because 40 channels was allowed, and pretty much all those manufacturers and distributors that had 23 channels on their shelves really kind of bit the dust with 23 channel radios that hadn't been sold. They pretty much had to let them go for below cost. So 1972 to 1976, the good Panasonic chassis that in all the radios that show up here always sounds good. I believe it's plate modulated, and they just changed the elevation, if you will, the front panel, depending on the radio that you bought. So it's like a car. You get a 350 engine. The engine is the same, but what surrounds the engine, whether it's a Chevy or a Pontiac or an Oldsmobile or a Cadillac, you can change the way it looks and suit your taste that way. Radio number 6, the T-Berry Model T, 23-channel version. I'm not sure which would be the more rare. I would think maybe the 40 channels because they had less chance to produce them, but on the Panasonic chassis, that would be a really good thing to find out. Of the Panasonic chassis, which model, T-Berry or Robin or Colt, which one sold the most? Back to you for transmission, Paul. You will be pleased when you watch the archives, listening to the audio, I think, and the signal as well. Thanks for bringing it by. Over.
Yeah, I'm happy you got it tuned in pretty well. I don't mess with that little tuning dial in the back of the microphone. We got it made. This thing's not real colored like some of the other radios. This has three lights on the front, transmits RX and mod on the thing, which is flashing real good in the mod. And then it's got the dial, the tune, and then the PA on the right-hand side. It's not colored up with anything. It's just a real clean, neat-looking radio. Very nice radio to put in your front room. That's my opinion. Thanks, Dennis, for sending it in. I'll be listening.
That's what we do best here in the Old Tube Radio Network, is listen for the cool radios with the glow-in-the-dark mode. Hello to Big Rich 6520 and also Pydor 88 over there on the video side. Hope to work some of you stations that are listening in, but because we're on 11 meters at night, don't have the propagation. It'd be cool to chat with some of you on the amateur frequencies. So when the band starts opening up, the sunspots happening, which they will, Cycle 25 coming up, hopefully we'll be able to set up some schedules to chat, whether it's on sideband or maybe 10 meter AM. The Old Tube Radio Network, real radios glowing in the dark, and the Jingle Singers, are they ready? Are they ready again? I think they are. Let's stand by here as we listen for. Oh, you know what? Let me do something here. They're not quite ready, and neither am I. But anyway, we are listening for Radio 7.
25.
There is somebody out there. Hello, radio.
Not SWO 25.
25. Okay, I hear you. I think I know what radio you're on. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I know it's got some funky audio on it. And by the way, the Jingle Singers are sounding good. Sounds like they're maybe on their third bottle of champagne and having fun. Anyway, SWO 25 checking in on the General Radio Telephone MC5. Back to you, Dennis.
Back to me. I've got a good shot. Let me go to the MC5. It is a photo from Paul's collection. And he has just about every General Radio Telephone. Maybe he has two of each. I'm not sure. A matching set. The audio, it has its own sound. I can hear you just fine. It's got its own little footprint, so you can... I can always tell which picture I should bring up. So that's a good thing. Up to the full screen, and we'll go back to you, and we'll talk about this radio that made its debut in 1962.
Yeah, okay, Dennis. Yeah, you know what? We've messed around with different microphones on this. Right now I'm talking on a Turner Plus 3B powered microphone. But I think I need to maybe focus on the audio tube on this radio and maybe replace it and see if that makes a difference, because we've done all kinds of different things on this radio and it always sounds kind of funky. So I think maybe the tube might have an issue, the audio tube. And I know it's not a 12 AX7, it's something else that General Radio Telephone used. But anyway, we're going to give it a try as soon as we get some time. Anyway, back to you, Dennis.
All right, sounds good. It's working fine for the Old Tube Radio Network here, Radio 7. There's only 7 tubes in that radio, so it's working overtime compared to our 10 and 13 tube radios that have been checking in tonight. There actually is a schematic online at oldtuberadio.com, and they're all 6-volt tubes. 6B, S6, 6BQ5, 6EM8, 6EA8. So one of those, Harvey probably knows, one of those is the audio tube. Don't know if there's some circuitry into that, some of the capacitors or something that could be bad, but I don't know. A tube would be easy if you can get the right tube. A tube would be easy to check and see if that does anything. The MC5, probably the most advertised general radio telephone CB. Much like the MC4 before it, but it had a stronger transmitter, and it was the last general radio telephone with the tone signal thanks to the FCC. After that, and if you're looking at the video, let me expand the screen there. There, under the S meters, there's the switch called tone signal. That got replaced in the MC6 with a bullhorn, which was the audio amplifier used as a PA. But I believe that our operator tonight, Jerry, will help us out. I don't know if you have to flip the switch up or if you have to flip the switch down to initiate the tone signal. Over.
Actually, it's a spring-loaded switch just below the proverbial S meter that you were talking about earlier. And I guess if you were in a secret club, you could activate it and let your friends know that maybe go to another channel. Other than that, I don't know what the purpose would be, but I would be happy to demonstrate it for you, Dennis. Over.
Okay, I'm ready. We've zoomed into the tone signal switch. The picture is showing that it is in the up position, resting. I think you said it was a spring-loaded, so you're probably going to be pressing it down. And when you do, the Old Tube Radio Network and yay, even the entire universe listening into the Old Tube Radio Network will hear what happens.
So I guess that's signaling your friends that maybe move to another frequency. Other than that, you're probably just going to be a jam. Anyway, that's probably why the FCC said no more. So anyway, back to you, Dennis. Thanks for checking it in.
Good, very interesting. And also I noticed that the tone signal also has the same anomaly. So if it's going through some audio amplification, you may have pegged that possibly the tube or whatever circuitry that audio is going through is creating the issue. And it has the same anomaly in the audio with that tone, because I know in various prior episodes of the Old Tube Radio Network, that tone is more of a clear oscillation. So that you may have pegged it there. When you get a chance, we'll have to find out what the audio tube complement is at and focus in on that. But in the meantime, sounding good for Radio 7, the General Radio Telephone MC5. Thanks for bringing it by.
With some help from maybe 45, I'll figure out which tube's the audio tube and maybe put another one in there and see what happens. Anyway, thanks for checking it in, Dennis. Back to you.
I think someone's calling out there. Go ahead.
Hello. Oh, I turned my mic down. Accidentally. That's why you didn't hear me. Can you hear me all right now?
I hear you fine. You know what? I had the preamp turned off on that last transmission. I hear you just fine. Over.
Oh, yeah. Put my little range booster on. Probably gave me an eighth of an S unit more. The audio tube should be the speech amp, audio frequency amp, which would be on receive. If he can't hear me, ask him if his receive seems a little pinch on or thin on receive audio. Speech amp is the 6E88, and the modulator should be the 6EQ5.
I don't know if you're still there, Jerry, but Harvey mentioned that if you're also experiencing sort of some pinched, restricted audio on the receiver as well, that's a good indication that the tube is faulty. There are two. I'm looking at the tube complement, but I don't have where they go. There are 2 6EA8s, and there is one 6BQ5. So it's a 6EA8 and the 6BQ5. Over.
Yeah, I do, and thank you, Harvey. So there are 2 6BA8s.
V4 is a 6 Echo Alpha 8, V5 is a 6 Echo Alpha 8, and V7 is a 6 BQ5. Harvey, take a transmission.
Okay, the 6BQ5 is the output modulator, and probably the 6EA8 that's closest to the 6BQ5 should be your amp tube. I'm looking, yeah, that's kind of what I think. Yeah, the 6EA8 closest to the 6BQ5, and the 6BQ5 itself is the output modulator. Now, if you have a meter hooked up, do you have a lot of forward swing or just a little?
I'm just running barefoot, but I got the tube compliments written down there, Harvey. I appreciate it, and anyway, back to you, Dennis. Thanks for the QSO.
I'm out.
All right, thanks. I think we've got a handle on that one. Again, the radio is working well without any fixing, but that could help. We know what the general radio telephones can sound like, even with the stock supplied carbon microphoniums. A couple of minutes left here for the Old Tube Radio Network. We are looking for Radio 8. Any SWL check-ins or comments or questions? Let's see. Let me update the page. Hello to, who's new? Hello to Riverside, or near Riverside in Southern California listening in. We would have to have some backscatter or some very severe ducting going on to be heard in Riverside, but thanks for tuning in tonight. OTR standing by.
Breaker OTR.
The Breaker OTR, go ahead, please. Over.
Yes, this is an announcement for the Leonid meteor shower. Monday morning, Earth is entering a stream of debris from Comet Tempel-Tuttle, a source of the annual Leonid meteor shower. Forecasters expect 10 to 15 meteors per hour to fly out of the constellation Leo when the shower peaks on Monday morning, November 18th. The best time to look is during the dark hours before sunset when Leo is high in the southeast.
Yes, do not look at while you're eating lunch at noon. It might not work as well. All right, so that'd be Sunday night at Point. Of course, here in town, in Fresno, they put up all these really nice new LED street lights, which fortunately don't seem to put out much or any RF hash on the radio, but they do make things a lot brighter. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult around here.
Actually, I believe the new street lights actually they don't cause as much light pollution as the older type.
Well, they're certainly directing it down in a beam. Maybe that's because of the way the lenses are. So maybe if you're looking up past the light, block the light out, it might be okay. Just then the other thing is Mother Nature has to cooperate with clear skies and no clouds. I can never navigate Facebook. I saved a lot of pages. There are a lot of Facebook sites that deal with citizen band radio, and they're done very well and run by some intelligent and knowledgeable operators. And I save a lot of these posts that come on there so that I can come back during OTR and say, take a look at this and take a look at that. And of course, I can't find any of the saved pages. There are a lot of people that I wish were able to check in because they have great radio collections and really have some good tidbits on the radio. So I'll try to do better with these saved items, because a lot of things I'd like to share with some of the people that are on these Facebook groups. And some of you might even be listening or watching, so keep up the good work on those sites. Very entertaining and informative, and learning a lot. It seems like there definitely a lot of interest, in doing this and being involved with this for 30 or 35 years. Sometimes you realize that, are we the only ones that do this? And it's like, no. There's plenty of radio enthusiasts and tube radio enthusiasts out there, and a lot of them are becoming licensed amateurs as well, or started out that way or ended that way. And so we look forward to chatting with everybody when we get a chance. So, okay, Larry, thanks for that. That is a November thing. There's a couple of meteor showers that happen every year, and I think this is one of the good ones.
Oh, yes. It's not the best one, but it's not too shabby, I guess. Let's see. Yeah. So keep looking up.
As, who is it? Jack Korkheimer used to say. The other thing is, I don't know if they're regional or not. So we have a lot of people listening in that aren't necessarily on the West Coast. So some of these may be better off, if you're on the East Coast or in the South or in the North, too.
Well, it's generally the same thing. It's unless you're in the southern hemisphere, like down under.
And we do have listeners. We do have shortwave listeners that tune us in from the other part of the equator. And then the jingle singers said,
You're tuned to
OTR, Channel 11,
right here in
Fresno, California.
Stay with us
Old Tube Radio.
and be modern.
counting and amounting and listening for radio number 8. All right, Larry, here's one for you. Have you seen the Starlink satellites?
Not personally. Not yet, anyways. I've seen them in pictured and in video, but not personally yet.
Okay, I'm not familiar with exactly what they are, but one of our listeners had mentioned that, John out of Iowa.
Starlink is actually going to be a free internet service for the world.
Oh, okay. So it's up there beaconing down. So in future episodes of the Old Tube Radio Network, we'll be able to beam up to the satellite and then be all over, right?
Yeah. Wherever you're at, you'll have internet access.
Now there's a concept. How much can we charge for that people are saying?
I bet, he says it's going to be free.
Well, that's what I mean. It's wait a minute. It can't possibly be free. How can that happen? We've got to find a way to charge for it. Open source, that just can't be.
Yeah, well, that's the idea for it. And then he's going to have, when the constellation is complete, there's going to be, I've heard numbers like up to 40,000 satellites.
Well, let's coordinate the thing. We haven't done what was the space station? It'd be something like that, right? You kind of look up, okay, there it is. I'm sure they're geosynchronous and all that. So, okay, that's interesting. Thanks, John, for bringing that up. And the Old Tube Radio Network might be able to beacon out everywhere. Or maybe they'll, put some little relay, you can do some packet dinging.
Dennis?
This is the basic Dennis, over.
Yeah, the 6PQ5 is the modulator for sure, and that would be V7. V5, one of the 6EA8, is next to the final, which is the 6EM5, and that's the transmit oscillator. V4 is another 6EA8, and that should be next to or real close to the 6PQ5. So, if worse comes to worse, just test the two 6EA8 and the 6PQ5. And hopefully that'll fix the problem there. If he's still listening, I've got those two. If you want to get them somewhere else, that's fine. But I've got them, and I've also got tube testers, but
you probably have them.
Oh, he does. Okay, back to you, Dennis.
All right, thanks for that. I think when he gets in that mode, we've got a good road plan for checking that out. Yeah, Harvey, I was actually going through, we're talking about remodeling the shack. I'm sort of planning on that, but I don't know when it's going to happen. I was going through the racks and the shelves of, YLS's, the Sam's photo fax and kind of going back to that and getting those together. And I think with your help, I pretty much have everything. Once I get it back up again, we'll see, and then we'll have a good little archive and selection and library that should help us all out. I will say, is there any other stations would like to check in before we sign out of the Old Tube Radio Network and clear the airwaves and make space for the Starlink satellite?
And we'll do this one.
All right, I don't need. I'm going to turn the preamp off. I don't think I need the preamp when you're on that one.
Okay. Because this one's so high pitched. Okay. Any Sams that you don't have, I should have, And if I don't have either a decent one or that one that you're missing, I know where to get them. So just let me know. The Browning Golden Beagle R68 T68 with the custom G104 microphonium. There's one that I think a guy has on Facebook. I think it's a Golden Eagle. It might be a Golden Eagle or it might be an R27 F23, but I think it's a Golden Eagle. Anyway, he's got one on eBay with the 180 range booster and the Unamp P104 with the Browning medallion on the back. And I think he wants $1,000 for it.
I've been learning about these things. Is it on a yellow table?
Oh, my dial's off. I missed that.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I said I've been learning about how these things are sold. Is it being displayed on a yellow table?
I can't remember. But he was selling it and he didn't list the price. So in the comments, I looked at a bunch of the comments, and in one of the comments, guy said that someone told him that when he checked, that when his friend checked or whatever, the guy was asking $1,000.
Wow, okay. Well, we will see. Apparently there's a gentleman that sells things on this yellow tablecloth, and the prices are typically three times higher than what they should be. And there was an old radio night tonight. Just to change the subject, I'm for some reason not getting the notifications. JT had a old radio night, and the radio featured was the Tram XL. Is that what it says? Let me kick on that. I always like to see what he's doing. The Tram. Okay, that's maybe like a 23. All right, so check out the old radio night for the Tram XL and the Maverick reverse preamp. You know what I'll do is I'll add the link on the comments section here. Harvey, you are radio number 8 with your Browning Golden Beagle R68 T68. Over.
Okay. Yeah, I saw that and I went, But I know someone is going to buy that thing. So, especially with the microphone. I mean, I've got this one, and I can't believe I picked it up. I thought, well, gee, probably 1 out of 10 people that have these radios probably have the mic. And it turns out that that's kind of not what it is. And the fact that I got this mic with the radio and the 180, I mean, what a deal way back when. But I did pick up a second mic head with the medallion on it. It's not in the world's greatest shape, but it's decent. And so I have that. It doesn't have a good element, but in the deal was 3 mic heads, and that was one of them. Well, one of the other mic heads that's a little trashy has an absolute excellent element. So I'm going to swap them. And then I'll have to, wow. Anyway, this one has the same element in it as when I picked it up. So that's, I think, amazing. Because sometimes when it gets really hot out here, I forget to pull the mic head off, take it in the house. That's what I generally do with all the D104s out here. They're all marked with which radio they go with. And when it starts to get really warm, I pull the heads off, take them in the house. And if I think I'm going to run that radio, then I bring that head in. All the D104 heads in the hot summer stay in the house. Because I learned the hard way, that's what you got to do, especially out here. Okay, take it easy, Dennis. The Browning Golden Beagle R68 T68 from Browning Laboratories. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Harvey, for the tip. I never thought of that. So if you're not in a temperature-controlled, although this house is so poorly insulated, it's pretty awful. But if you're not in a temperature-controlled Radio Shack, that's like, I guess it's like covering your evaporative cooler in the winter, and it helps keep the pump and everything else that's getting up there frozen or whatever, keep it through the winter. Same thing for your microphoniums and items of interest. If you can't sit in the heated and air-conditioned shack, and bring those mic elements in when possible. Thanks for that, and thanks for Radio 8. Also, Breaker Broke 23 from Salt Lake City, listening in, watching the video, and is definitely enjoying the Screaming Eagles. So thanks for bringing by one of our regular players here on the Old Tube Radio Network, the R68, T68. Counting and amounting, and we'll be right back with the totals here on the Old Tube Radio Network.
Yeah, one with the MC5.
And there was a breaking station. Don't wait, breaking station. And what was that? What was that about the MC5, Harvey? Over.
That I was talking on. Remember, it came with the wrong tube in it, a very good Soviet 6BQ5. Well, just sitting here, reads 90 plus on my tube tester. So basically, it came with the radio, and it's not being used in it. So there you go. I have it if you need it.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, put it in the will call file, and we will check it out. OTR. Who was the breaking station? I missed, if you were checking in, I missed what you said. To try it now. Over.
It was 131, Dennis.
All right, 131. All right, thanks. You know what? I was way off frequency. I don't know how long I've been off frequency here. I mean, extremely off frequency. 131. That was Mr. Rude, or is Mr. Rude. So let me, and thanks for the relay. I'll get John checked in here on OTR, and I hope I probably sound better now that I'm back on frequency.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I was way low. I think ergonomically it's not good. I got a camera up here, and I'm trying to turn preamps off and on, and sometimes, most times, as people who frequent the Old Tube Radio Network, when I'm doing net control, notice that I do have a lot of operator error, so thanks for keeping me online here.
You have a good evening, Dan.
All right, we've got 131 checked, and that's what I was doing. I was going to the big SWL list so that it will beacon on the chart that you got checked in. Anyone else before we sign out here tonight?
Dennis?
This is the basic, Dennis.
Did you have to tune off frequency to talk to Jerry?
No. I think we've checked the frequency before. What I did is I hit the wrong control. I've been doing a lot of, people watching the video, doing a lot of this, trying to get to that preamp button, which is stuck behind the camera that's on the S meter. And I knocked myself off frequency, but I haven't had to tune away for anybody tonight.
Okay. Well, remember when I keyed up before and I said, I must have bumped my dial because you were a little off? Well, and I thought it was me. No, it was you. So when you went back on, I retuned. So I thought maybe it was Jerry. Now, if he's got a tube tester, he should check all those tubes in there. I should have all of them in case he needs them. Because if he was off frequency, that's the other CTA8 transmit oscillator. Anyway, those radios can be tuned slightly. So if, unless he has a freak counter and he knows he's on, then it might need a little tweaking there. Okay, I'm going to let you go and get back in. By the way, I put a clock in the radio room. It's a digital clock, gives the date and the temperature, and it hangs above the bench. When I came in, the air conditioner heating area in this shed is on the opposite side of the room. And I turn the heater on, and the temperature on the air conditioner went from 61 to 63. Well, being that my temperature box is hanging above my Tram Titan 2, the temperature went from 61 to 77.
Yes, now is the time for old tube radios to keep the Radio Shack warm. So we should be getting a lot more check-ins in the winter. I'm at 76 in here, and I think I even have some window open to cool off all the tube equipment here. So, all right, that's just another reason to check in more radios in the next couple of months.
Okay, I'm getting out of here. Catch you next week.
All right, and I'm not sure how long I was off frequency, but it was way more off than the FCC allows, the 700 cycles, and I'm assuming it hasn't been that way too long, because I would have noticed on receive. But sorry for those who use the old tube radio network as your frequency beacon standard. I let you down. OTR standing by. Say hello to Captain Keyboard out there in Las Vegas, I think, who is reminding us all to have a great weekend and be careful. Also, hello to Hermosa Beach. I think that is the new high-speed, super-duper wacky internet station down there. So there you go. Here's some movement for your fibrous internet to see how things are working in the latency department. And then, Mr. Announcer and the jingle singer said,
This is the Old Tube Radio Network. Ladies and gentlemen, stand by. It's time now for the current OTR totals.
Current and final totals here for the Old Tube Radio Network on a November 16th, 2019 edition. First, let's talk about SWLs. We had 48 tonight. Kind of a slow evening. Maybe it was time to be by the fireplace. Maybe it's finally getting cold enough that you want that hot chocolate or cup of tea or Ovaltine or whatever you do and sit by something that generates a little bit of heat. That's the thing. The new TVs, the LED TVs, don't generate that much heat. So it would behoove you to at least jump into the radio room occasionally on Saturday evenings and check in one of your tube radios. 7 SWLs on page 1, 13 on page 3, 15 on page... Let's try that. 7 on page 1, 13 on page 2, 15 on page 3, and 13 on page 4 for a total of 48. And radios, we had 8 tonight with... Do we almost have... no, we do have a tie between the General Radio Telephones and the Brownings. And the Palomars, believe it or not. Started off with the Palomar Skipper 71B. That was from Paul. Radio number 2 is the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB from Jerry. Radio 3, Paul on the Palomar Skipper 73C. These are archived. As I mentioned, if you didn't know, if you want to check your radio, you can watch the video. We'll keep that up, or go to oldtuberadio.net, click on the archive button, look for the OTR magnetophone. It will take a long time. It loads a bunch of stuff. And then once it's loaded and loaded all those little 3-inch reel-to-reel tapes, you can click on the date and whether it's an SWL or a tube radio check-in and check stuff out and listen in. Radio number 4, the General Radio Telephone Super MC11A from Chris. Thanks, Chris. Get better. Take your medicine or drink chicken soup, lots of water, whatever you're supposed to do. Radio number 5, the Tram Titan 2 Project Radio, which I think is done. It's time to put the screws back in. It sounds good. Radio number 5. Radio number 6, Paul on the T-Berry Model T, the 23-channel version, sounding good. From Madera Heights, the General Radio Telephone MC5. Maybe in future episodes we will find the offending 6EA8 or whatever the tube might be, and the tone alert will beacon the way it's supposed to. And then radio number 8, which you just heard, the Browning Golden Eagle R68T68, the first in their series of the Browning Eagles. Let me see if there's anybody that I need to, or anything I need to comment on. Thanks for all of those who are staying up with us late tonight into early Sunday morning, wherever you may be, or if you're way far away, maybe late Sunday afternoon. And we do this every week, so we'll be back, hopefully we'll be back next Saturday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 27085, if the conditions are correct and good where you might be. And, of course, it wouldn't all be possible if it weren't for our collectors and tube radio operators keeping us going here on the old Tube Radio Network. Thanks to SearchLawrence.com and Frodex for keeping the Nixie tubes running. I don't know how long they'll last. The video port, I think, is kind of on a shoestring here between changes and updates, but we'll keep it going for as long as we can. The radio portion, no problem. That will be a solid 73, everybody, and we will talk to you next time on the old Tube Radio Network. Okay. The video, believe it or not, is on some newfangled thing.
As the curtain closes.
Some newfangled thing. So let me go to the live streaming and see if I can figure out how to end this thing. And 73, John. Oh, you know what? It's actually better. They've got all the chat room stuff is right there. I may have to put this page up. They've actually made they've put something new, and I think they've actually made it better. It seems more ergonomically friendly. People are saying that the stream latency is good. Let's see, does not support closed captions. So I'm not closed captioned anymore. 1440p and 4K resolutions.
My advice to everyone, never try to take apart a bird watt meter dummy load.
Oh, a dummy load. Well, wait a minute. We're still... The dummy load looks... Isn't it just... What's in there? Why not?
Lots of oil.
Oil! Oh, all right. So is it resistors in there?
One resistor. And the resistor is labeled 51.5 ohms, but it read like 59 ohms.
All right. Did you ever take the tour of Channel 59? And I thought it was a bird watt meter, a bird dummy load. It was huge. It was the size of a Sub-Zero refrigerator for, how many, I don't know, super high power. Do you have the standard, is like what do they call it, a through line? Is that what you got?
Yes. What is this thing? Well, actually, wait a minute. No, it's not a through line. You're going to make me read the label.
Well, I'm still up here, and it's kind of interesting. So there's a big resistor inside, but there's oil. So that means it has to be sealed somehow. You would have to break a seal to get it to leak on you?
Yes, it's actually a Tourmaline. It's made by Bird, but it's the Tourmaline watt meter series.
Okay, I've got one behind me here. No, it's not. I think it's different. It's not the Bird. That has the fins, right?
Yes.
Okay, and let's see. They're not. Are they rated for frequency? They're rated for power, of course.
Yeah, this one's rated for 30 to 1,000 megacycles.
All right, and then I guess the other thing is, why would you need to take it apart? There would be some reason to do that?
Well, yes, because it reads 59 DC ohms.
59. Okay, I guess that would mess up the SWR a little bit.
Yeah, and I cleaned it up a little bit, and I got the resistance down to 55, so there is a little bit of improvement.
Okay, let's see if this works. Before we go, I'm going to see if I can get a shot, since we're talking about it. Go over to here and go over to there. There it is. There is I think that's a Tourmaline. Let me get a bigger shot there. I think I have one of those, and it doesn't work at all. Where did I get that? Or do I still have it? I'm sure I have one of those. That's why it's not on the rack behind me, because I think it has a problem. So now I know to not or at least to be wearing my boots when I open that thing up.
Right. Have you checked the resistance of the connector on the front?
No, and it has those little, I want to say the BNC connector things that have to be put in or put out. I never really knew how it was supposed to be configured to make it work right.
Okay, well, I have problems with mine, and I found out that okay, on each side of that end connector, on the center connector, there's a little plug that you insert, and that little plug contains the detector diode, and a lot of the time that little plug doohickey doesn't make contact with the meter element inside, so you have to kind of fidget it, and then I had to, take mine and clean up that connection.
Yeah, it's on a little chain. I have no idea where it is. I'm sure I have one of those, and that's probably the problem. I think it never worked correctly. And again, it might be 59.5 ohms as well. All right, well that's good to know. I will make a note of that it might be something that's fixable. Of course, it's a bird, so it should be nice. But the one I've got back here actually works quite well. I think it's one of those Fresno flea market finds that was on Pat's bench at one time. All right, I think that's it. I need to decommission all the stuff here, but you mentioned that, and it seemed interesting. So hopefully, now, okay, the saga continues. Do you not have to, when you put it back together, figure out how to put some type of oil or something in it for the, I don't know, temperature cooling or whatever it does?
Well, not a great amount came out of it when I opened it. A little bit came out, but I probably don't need to put any back in, I'm hoping.
And if you work it right, you put some Wesson corn oil in there. It might, when you key down on Big Bertha, it might kind of smell like a salad.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I'm just worried about not waking up in the morning. All the poison, all the poisons in the oil.
Well, I know this PCB, if it's not leaking from a transformer outside the window there. All right, good night, everybody. I'm going to turn things off here. Thanks for watching and listening, the Old Tube Radio Network. And I found the end stream button on the video side. So here goes.
Now, 73.
Am I sure I want to end this thing? Yes, I am. Goodbye, everybody.